The victorious coalition had secured the world. Tribes and people so distant that none in Armenia had ever even seen someone who would have heard of them, now bowed to the chosen king. The king's power grew by the day, as did his wealth. Money from all corners of the earth was gathered at the great palace of Armavir, locked away in ever-deepening vaults reserved for the private use of the goddess Pandora. For over a decade, the world was locked in a state of peace by the coalition. To defy its will was to bring the rest of the coalition down upon you and assure your own destruction. That is, unless you could form a coalition of your own. Such ideas had been passed around for many years, even before the conquest was over. It started among the people, taxed within an inch of their lives by administrations with hefty coalition bills to pay. It spread to the merchants and middle classes, whose businesses were disrupted by the deteriorating economy. Then talk was heard among the soldiers, who had no way to provide for their families but to win spoils in battle, but battle was strictly forbidden. Finally, even landowners, courtiers and officials were grumbling, noting that the responsibility for the downturn was falling on them, while the real perpetrators, their leaders, lived the high life in the huge palatial estates that the chosen king of Armenia had built for them. Generals began to reach out across borders. Peasants and slaves whispered of the secret wealth hidden in coalition strongholds. Tradesmen worked together to forge weapons in hiding. Courtiers fed information on the excess of their lords to their oppressed peoples. The leading noble families slowly tied each string of descent into a firm rope, curled and hung for the pocket kings of the foreign mage. It took over 10 years, but finally everything was ready. Armenian caravans started disappearing. Messengers ceased to leave or enter the valleys of Eden. Before the court of Armavir knew it, the flow of wealth into their chambers was cut off almost entirely. Across the world, kings fell and dynasties changed. The coalition was shattered, but among the pieces there was still something, a coalition of sorts, a coalition against Armenia. War was no longer outlawed. People across the world looked with hunger towards their neighbours, but most of all, they looked with ravenous fury towards the Golden Mountains of Armenia. The chosen king's plan had been derailed, but with a fresh body at his disposal, he was not going to give up the fight quite yet. Welcome back to Wings of Eden. We're now some 12 or 13 years after the end of the last episode, and the diplomatic situation's looking a little bit different. Since we managed to troll our way to conquering the world without really having to do very much, and there wasn't an endgame challenge, I've given myself an endgame challenge for this campaign. We're going to fight the coalition instead. I've allowed myself to keep my allies in Britannia for law reasons, and I've also kept the Armenian nobles who I considered to be part of Armenia throughout the campaign. As you can see, we're losing tons of money now that we don't have the coalition to pay for all of our armies, so that's going to give us a time limit to how long we can survive with our defences intact. Now that I've declared war on everyone, I thought we might as well do some preemptive attacks and have some armies out there while most of them sit around at home just to defend. And things start off really well. The first settlement we reach, we don't even have to fight, we just immediately have the option to take it. For now, I'm going to keep doing the rule of places I take need to be given to a vassal or an ally or something, but we'll see as we go on. I'm going to change that rule ever so slightly in a couple of ways, for various reasons. Anyway, so that's the first capture, achieved quite easily. In the centre of our territory, we have our capital of Armavir, defended by Menuakapi's latest form, Ashurnazir Pal, as well as another Ashurnazir Pal with an army backing him up outside, and one of his clones with a regular army that's going to march north now to attack the Caucasus. There's an army inside this time with 2 mystery units, but nothing we can't overcome with auto-resolve, so we'll just set up some siege stuff and sort that out in full next turn. To the south, I noticed that Nabatea has some kind of weird setup going on, where they've just spammed loads of armies with one unit in it, just generals all standing around. Not such a bad idea. I guess generals are a strong unit, but you're limited to 4 things per battle, so you can only use 4 units at a time with this strategy. And it doesn't do very well when I send an army to just attack. We push some of them away, and with that done we can start a siege on their territory. That's another case where it's auto-resolvable, but we do need something to get through their walls, so we'll have to do that next turn. Now, I hit end turn, and so begins a very long wait. As it turns out, when AI factions are at war with the player, their turn takes a long time. I guess they do lots of other calculations that they wouldn't normally do when they're not at war with the player. And as a result, the end turn sequences now take about 7 to 8 minutes to go through. That's quite a long time when you're just sitting around, and that's probably going to impact the way that I end up finishing this campaign, in that it's probably going to be shorter rather than longer. Menuakapi, or Ashurnasirpal, got married at the end of that turn, so that was nice for him, and now we just need to come back to these sieges and start wiping out the enemy. The Nabateans don't last very long against auto-resolve. We'll take their territory and give it to the Armenian nobles. In the northwest, I'm going to send an army to attack Trapizos. This is Menuakapi's old army, and it's still half dead from the campaigns against Carthage. They've also got smallpox, which is why they've been unable to replenish while being home in our territory. For some reason they still have it, they just can't shake this disease off. But we're going to go on the offensive with just a half-strength army to see what happens there. In the Caucasus, no problem for us to wipe out that small army up here. But with this settlement, I'm actually just going to occupy it rather than giving it to anyone else, because I decided arbitrarily to break the rules and start occupying the Caucasus, the province next to Armenia, since having somewhere that I can use just to make some extra food and money might make our defense a little bit more interesting as we go forwards. Anyway, as you can see, a million years later in Trapizos' turn, they decide to attack my half-dead smallpox-ridden army outside their settlement, so let's see how they do in battle.
We were so close. Why are they clinging onto their gold like mad dogs? I told them that all we had to do was wait. They did not need to prosper. They did not need to do anything with their lives but survive. What did they want the money for? Was there something that they could buy greater than the immortalization of all humanity? Her power was gathering so quickly. It would not even have been long, no more than a few 100 years. They have chosen not to harvest the fruits of my efforts, but to burn them all to the ground. Why should Pandora even care for such insolent children? Why must I bear the burden of punishing them? Fine. The way of the world is clear to me. I understand the nature of mankind more clearly than ever now. Let the armies march. Let the mortals get what they deserve.
The enemy started things off with some cavalry attacks. On our left, they just ran cav into our spears and they died, but in the centre they had more success. They almost took out my central sword units using their general, but their general was himself taken out by a huge storm of javelins, so we've got rid of him. Out on our right, some cataphracts were approaching, so I decided to try sending in the elephants to clear them out. I think elephants have a bonus fighting cavalry because the horses are scared of them or something, but it doesn't seem to go very well. I'm not quite sure why, looking back at the footage. Some of our elephants just seemed to die for some reason very quickly, and the unit routed, so that wasn't the devastating blow I was expecting. However, the second unit of elephants did manage to finish the cataphracts off. We charged through a load of them and routed that unit as well. The skirmish cav nearby will be dealt with by the spearmen who I've sent to chase them. Just going to chase them to the edge of the map and eventually take them down. The enemy's infantry are doing a good job targeting us, targeting our weakest unit in the centre, but their cav are still throwing themselves away, just using cataphracts to fight statically against the front of our spears. They're not going to achieve anything at all. Their second army, the one from the city, had loads of archers, and very quickly we're starting to take so much missile fire that we can't wait around and let the enemy just blob up in front of us before we move. We need to charge and meet the enemy, making this battle extra messy, but I think we have to do it at this stage. We're losing men fast and we didn't start with that many men. Because the enemy have more than double our numbers, we can't go and engage the archers or anything, we just have to start pushing through to them and hope they don't do much damage. My already weakened centre was broken apart by the enemy's infantry, but the elephants that routed came back and could then charge forwards through our lines and into the enemy. They then basically filled the gap and were able to rout the enemy units there, so any disasters were averted. On our left, we've just got a few units to clear up as our left wing pushes forwards towards the enemy's skirmishing lines, and we've got all those skirmishers distracted by just piling in some cataphracts to be all over the place there, keeping the enemy moving and generally not firing at our troops. Everything's in place then to turn this battle around. This is the final piece of the puzzle. It's some of our centaur elephant men, at least a few, and a few regular elephants with humans riding them. They charge into the back of the enemy's blobby infantry, going all the way through in some cases, and that's just going to devastate them. Multiple units rout, and now our centres freed up to charge forwards and join the chase, really, against all of the enemy's skirmishing units. They've got quite a lot left. Some of them are routing, some of them are still fighting. We're going to have to engage them to finish them off. And that means this battle is still going to go on for quite a while as it turns into a running fight. We're destined to win though at this stage. We just need to catch up with enemies, kill a few, that will rout them, and gradually army losses routes everything. Even then though, we can't finish the fight because so many of the enemy's units were reinforcements that we need to chase them down and kill them on the map. They don't get destroyed in auto-resolve if you end the battle prematurely, and we want to kill everything because that will make the siege that this battle is about super easy for our turn. We end up right here. We did lose the unit in the centre that took heavy damage, but overall a fine battle, even with the smallpox and with half our units already dead. The Trapezoid army is now negligible in size. We can auto-resolve them at our leisure. We just wait a million years and eventually reach the next turn. I noticed that the Nabateans have immediately taken down the Armenian nobles who I gave control of their territory. It's because the nobles don't get any garrison here, so the enemy can just walk in and recapture the settlement. Since that's the case, might as well just forget about that for now, but we are going to go back to that later on and try a different tact. At Trapezoid, a quick auto-resolve gets us victory, and here, since it's their only place and it's their home province, home region I believe, we can subjugate them and create ourselves a new vassal. And that's just what we need right now, because that's how we need to get money, essentially. If we're not going to go occupying everywhere, we need to vassalize different factions, preferably as many as possible, so that we get a portion of the AI's bonus money. No unit card also walked out to attack some random holding of Pergamon. A negligible fight, so we just auto-resolve it. There's no new state we can create here, so normally we'd have to occupy it and perhaps give it to Trapezoid, but I didn't want to do that for some reason, because if I was doing that, we'd basically just be starting the game again. The enemy don't appear to be attacking us like I thought they might, and they're not really resisting me attacking them either, so I thought let's not get boiled down or bogged down going through the whole let's just vassalize the entire world again sequence. We'll start moving towards an alternative strategy.
Chosen King, I have the gross misfortune of bearing a message received from Melite this morning.
Spit it out, thrall.
The so-called Free Nobles have decided to join the so-called anti-Armenian coalition.
Have they now? Even the most trustworthy of mortals will betray you over trifling matters. Pathetic humans. Thrall, stand still.
I will obey, Chosen King. Kharak.
Can you hear me, boy? Your Majesty, you let me go. For a very specific purpose. You like eating mortals, don't you? Oh, it's been so long. This nostalgia, like an old lover at your door. Shut up. We are going to make sure that only those who are under my direct control are allowed to live. Everyone else cannot be trusted with their spines. We cannot offer Pandora tribute in gold anymore, but vertebrae will boost her power more than enough. I understand entirely. I'll send out word immediately. Your will shall be the doom of the unbelievers.
If we can't occupy places and we can't give them to our vassals or allies, We'll just have to destroy them. So that's the new plan. The armies that are outside of our territory not defending will just roam around, seeing how many places they can raise until they themselves get destroyed. Hopefully they'll get destroyed soon to save us some money, and the other armies will wait to see if the enemy bother to attack Armenia. We've got another opportunity in the north. Looks like this place, for some reason, has no garrison, so let's blow it up. That's another huge swathe of the local population dealt with. That'll stop them from defying the will of Pandora. Got this annoying Pontic noble army standing around, but we'll just ignore them for now. I'm still going to go ahead with the project of occupying all of Caucasia. So to start off with that, I've got an army going to besiege Colchis. They've got an actual full-stack army in there, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge. And several million years later, they do sally against us, so we're going to get a nice chance to take them out on the field, just like with Trapezos, really. And this is actually a pretty similar battle to that, only we don't have smallpox, our men are a bit more intact, but the enemy have more stuff, so it's still a balanced engagement. But just like the Trapezos battle, things started off with cavalry attacking our left. I've got some cataphracts hiding in the trees, so they can use their bows to start the fight off, damaging those skirmish cav, and they can charge in when they feel like it. I've also got some of the trash spears from the beginning of the game. We lost the ability to recruit our heavy spear units at some point during all the time storms, and I forgot just how bad these levied spears were. They actually lost in their attempt to defend against enemy cavalry attacks here, but they still did damage to the cav, and our cataphracts will eventually be able to clear things up there. There are more cavalry attacking our right, but I've also got cataphracts here, and we managed to double team an enemy cataphract unit. They try to move, which is a big mistake, and lose a load of men, and we're piling in some trash spears to help out over there. We'll be able to win on the right as well. In the centre, I was even so diligent as to actually bother moving my archers away before these enemy cavalry charged into them. That was good of me. Clearly I was paying attention today. There's a jav battle going on as our Romanized infantry throw their spears at the enemy's skirmishing units. On the left, a bit of a brawl's breaking out since a lot of the enemy's melee infantry came over specifically to attack our left, but we'll be okay. With our cataphracts we can work our way through what's there. It does mean that the centre is now going to be a bit strange. They've got not very much stuff attacking our centre, and where they are attacking it's mostly with javeliniers just charging into melee. That means as I charge forwards with my main line, things are going to get very messy. Some of our guys will go right through to the back of the enemy army, but that's not really a bad thing, since our Romanized infantry can annihilate all of their low quality infantry units in battle, so we're just driving the enemy centre away, and a few guys can curl off to attack the flanks and generally sort things out. And at this stage, even though the balance bar is still even, we sort of have the battle. It's going to turn into, just like with the Trapezos battle, a running fight situation where everything's running away and we're just trying to catch up and force them to fight us so that we can get them to actually rout. The few units that stay behind get absolutely annihilated. We've got plenty of cataphracts to spare, so a few rear attacks will quickly end the fighting, and not many of those spines will be escaping the field. Everyone else keeps chasing the skirmishers, and gradually we'll be turning this into a total victory.
Lord, terrible news.
Yes?
Lowland refugees are gathering at the checkpoints. They say the Armenians are killing everyone they see and burning down every village. No one knows how many have died already, but the army was seen marching for the plateau. They must be coming here.
Damn those zealots. This is because we burned their palace, I imagine. That fragile king of theirs must have lost his nerve. Well, I want you to take word back to the checkpoints. Leave the refugees where they are. An inspector should pull anyone who can fight from their numbers and have them assemble at the nearest fort. It's time to win the praise of our ancestors and meet those scraps of mountain slag in battle.
My lord, they say they number like grains of sand and wear armor like frozen mountains.
And? You have a suggestion for me, commoner?
No, my lord.
Good. Anyone who talks of submitting to our fallen masters shall be executed. Since the Armenian nobles betrayed us, we can now very easily complete the province of Caucasia. We move on into that place we gave them earlier, and it still has no garrison, that's that. Now I have to do some gameplay that seems very unfamiliar. I have to bother looking over the buildings and actually working out the economy. The AI cheats, so usually the building setups are just random and they're running food negative, so you have to go in and usually just destroy something and put farms down to sort everything out. Anyway, to the south, I'm attacking a small group of Nabatean troops, and the nice thing about this battle was it drew out the garrison of that town off to the right, so I didn't really look at it. I think we weakened the garrison, not that it was particularly strong. With them dead, we are going to continue our rampage. The Medes haven't garrisoned their borders yet, so this will be our next target once the siege is done, etc. We can do something quite similar up at Melite, the bottom corner of Armenia controlled by the Armenian nobles. Because they had some guy standing outside of their walls, we'll take this quick battle with Asuka Reborn, and that will kill a load of the garrison, just meaning if there was anything to that siege, there probably won't be any more. Strangely though, even though we had a massive advantage on that balance bar, we got really annihilated in the auto-resolve. Not quite sure why, I guess I picked the wrong stance or something. Anyway, looks like it killed the entire garrison, so there we have it. Armenia is now completely under our control. I'm not sure if the nobles have some territories somewhere else, but we're not going to see much more of them. And once again, this place has been set up entirely to provide sanitation and no food, so better sort that out. Over to the west, I'm attacking the Galatians with no unit card. This is a turn after a siege started, so we can just storm on into this walled settlement. The garrison inside is nothing, and boom, the mission continues. So currently we're creating a ring of depopulated zones around Armenia as a little buffer of sorts. We also do the same thing with that siege we saw to the south with the Medes. So bang, there goes another one. And we're not going to stop, we'll just keep moving east into their core territory and see if they challenge us. Now, a diplomatic rule that I hadn't mentioned so far, that I had imposed on myself, was that the only way I could end a war with a faction was if they asked me. So far no one's asked, and I was checking there in the diplomacy screen to see if anyone actually wanted peace, to see if the deal acceptance chance was high. But no one's interested in peace with us anymore, even though we're still considered the #1 faction for whatever reason. Then it looks like the Medes actually do want to stop us from rampaging further into their territory. They've come at us with an army. It's really nothing special, got a ton of trash spears as its core, whereas we have the heavy, high-quality spears as our core, so we're going to have a definitive advantage, even though the balance bar says this is even. This battle was quite short, and I actually forgot to film the replay, but it was so unremarkable that we might as well take a very brief look at it live, just for a change. As you can see, cavalry actions on both flanks, and that's what I mainly focus on microing. As my main force, I'm just walking into the enemy. Usually I would stand still for less micro, but in this battle I wanted to end things quickly. So we're just going to walk right at them with a double line formation. Just as our guys start getting into combat, we activate the spear wall mode to increase their capabilities. I think it decreases movement speed or something, so nice to do that at the last possible second. And now we just wait. Our infantry should be better than theirs. On the left, things are looking pretty clear, so we can advance up to support the battles on the left flank with spears, particularly handy since there's a load of cav out there. And on the right, our general's having a bit more of a hard time because there's more stuff over there and less of our stuff. But that's not going to be a huge problem once we sort everything else out. On the left, everything's breaking apart, and that allows us to flank around behind the stuff in the centre. Also, since the main fight's been going for a while, we can now throw in our reserves. I had a lot of the heavy swords not participating in the fight at first, because if they go in now, those levied spears will be tired and will just be absolutely annihilated instantly. Plus we're surrounding them, which will break their morale, and generally that's all good. I'm going to send my archers to support on the right because the enemy's skirmish cav were being annoying and it's going to be hard to catch them even with our cataphracts. Foot archers will deal with all that. The main fight's starting to look good. The enemy general got routed at the back somewhere, but our guys coming around from the left. Those slingers are going to be in huge trouble once the cataphracts get to them, and the enemy's main body of infantry just gets annihilated, as I said. And there we have it. We've whipped out a decisive victory. No problems whatsoever. That balanced balance bar was clearly lying. They just couldn't do anything to our infantry line. Another bad day to be a Mede by the looks of things. We're going to break through into that core territory and see what we can do. As I mentioned, I don't mind if this army just gets annihilated. I'm really just seeing how far I can go, how much I can destroy, and hoping that we do lose at some point, both for the novelty of losing and because we are tanking cash right now, and it's a little bit more productive to sacrifice your men in battle than to disband them. Unfortunately for them, that is. We're going to go full offensive on the Medes. I've got another army coming down from the south. That place used to be garrisoned with the army that we just fought, so now it's free to besiege. The survivors from that army are still pretty strong by the looks of things. I think they might have grabbed some mercenaries here. So we end up with another balanced engagement, and I really didn't want to fight it, and the reason I mentioned that whole I don't mind losing thing is from now on I'm going to start basically auto-resolving fights that are even. Usually when you do that you lose a few units, and since we need to lose a few units along the way, I'm just going to do that to speed things up. So there, we grab a close victory. We're going to fight this guy again, since he's still in range of the garrison. So every time we do this, the garrison in that big walled city is going to get killed. We almost actually killed all of it in that fight, just a few guys left, so we will have to besiege them, but after that, looks like all of Media Atrapakan, our old rival, is going down. How much more of the world will go down? Well, we'll just have to find out. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Wings of Eden, and special thanks to all of the officially Devon patrons. Some of the outsiders will actually try to invade Armenia, as I originally imagined they would in the next part of Wings of Eden.